Sup folks, we're all kind of embarrassed to admit that we've read some books. For example, in my 6th grade class, there were these two twins. My friend Jimmy definitely had a crush on one of them. Now, both these twins were really into the Warrior Cat series, and so Jimmy went and he read every single one of those books. And you know what those books are? Furry books. No, I didn't read those books. I'm not that cringe. Instead, I read one about awesome dragons that were also furry books. So today, I'm going to recount you the story of said dragon furry books from what I can remember from 6th grade. I don't remember crap, so this is going to be fun. I think it's worth noting that I was really into this book series. Like, this was the main thing I read for a while. Every Scholastic book fair, anytime that we went to Barnes & Noble, this is what I would spend my money on. Do I regret it? Yeah, a lot, but I think the story was good. I don't really remember. I probably... Book 1, this is the one about the mud dragon or something. I had the paperback and the graphic novel paperback of both of these. I wanted the hardcover. It was $5 extra at the Scholastic Book Fair, so I just couldn't afford it. I remember one time my sister wanted to borrow this book, and she put it in her backpack, and then it came back with this crease that you can barely see on the cover. I was so pissed. This series was a mistake. Alright, what I think happens in the first one, there's some prophecy or something. Because there's this queen of the Sand Kingdom, or whatever, and she's got 3 daughters, right? And so then the queen dies, and the daughters are like, shoot, who's gonna rule the Sand Kingdom? And then there's a big prophecy thing that says 5 of these, what do they call them? Not Dragonites, that's a Pokemon. Dragonettes, 5 of the Dragonettes, they're gonna save the day, they're gonna unite everybody, and they're gonna pick who the new queen should be. So this group of really sketchy adult dragons go and they kidnap 5 eggs, because why not? And then they're raising these dragons to fulfill the prophecy the way that they want it to go, because I don't really know. Alright, so you got 5 of these kidnapped eggs, and I think they have like 3 guardian dragons or whatever. One of them, I think there's a mud dragon, a water dragon, a sand dragon, a darkness dragon. I don't even know what those ones are supposed to be. And I think there's a rainforest dragon, and one of the leaders, they really hate the rainforest dragon because they were supposed to be a sky dragon. They all have wings. Why is there only one kind of sky dragon? It's not even like the rest of them don't have wings. They all have... I remember at one point, the lady dragon who's really mad at the rainforest dragon, she locks one of them up. Probably the rainforest dragon. I don't remember. No, it might have been the water one. I don't know. And then the mud dragon, his name's Clay, because Clay mud. Whoop-de-doo, he's like, yo dudes, what if we just... Oh yeah, they're living in a cave, by the way. I forgot to mention that. He's like, yo dudes, there's a river in this cave. What if we just swim down the river and get out? And you see, they can't get out of the cave normally because there's a big boulder blocking it. And there's some magical blockade bullcrap that's just stopping them from getting out. And it can only be opened from the outside. So then the mud dragon dude, he goes around, he swims through the tunnel because he can hold his breath for a really long time. And then he goes to the front, and then he lets them out. Oh yeah, they get kidnapped, I think, by one of the sky dragons. I think her name's Scarlet. And she's like, yo, you guys should fight in my arena or something, I think. And then something happens and she dies. And that's like the main plot of the first book. Goes to show how much I remember. So then the Mud Dragon, he goes to the Mud Kingdom. Because, hold on, I think there's a map. Oh yeah, here we go. There's a map. Maybe I'll just... What am I doing? I'm just going to find a bigger map. They fly to the Mud Kingdom, and he goes and he finds his family. I think one of them's name is Reed. He's got like a brother or something. And then I think the first book just ends there. It's worth noting that each of these books has a different point of view from each of the protagonists. So there are 5 of the main books. So each book cycles through each one of those kidnapped dragons. So the first book is entirely from the perspective of Clay the Mud Dragon. So that's why we hear about him going in the tunnel and like finding his family. And it doesn't matter. Oh, wait. No, I remember why they go to all these different kingdoms. So they go to the Mud Kingdom, 1, so we can find his family, and 2, I think they're trying to convince the rulers of the different kingdoms to choose their person to be the next queen of the Sand Kingdom or whatever. I think one of the old dragons, the Nightwing, that's what they're called. I think one of the Nightwing dragons that kidnapped them is trying to get them to vote for one of the dragons because there's some like trade agreement or something. I really don't know. Oh yeah, so then they're going to the Sea Kingdom because they want to find who Tsunami's mom. This is the second book. It's called The Lost Heir. And if that doesn't give it away, Tsunami is a princess or something. She got kidnapped with some Rapunzel bull crap. And she meets her mother and she's immediately like, oh, my daughter, I'm so happy you're back. I think her mom's name is like Queen Coral or something. And then Coral's got this little tumor of a child that she keeps by her at all sides. And this little thing just hates Tsunami and tries to like kill her. And that's the entire plot of the book. Tsunami's trying to convince her mom to choose this one dragon to be the queen. And then the little piece of crap is trying to kill Tsunami with magic. Because, yeah, there's magic too. I guess if there's dragons, you can assume there'd be magic. The dragons who can do magic have like a special name. I can't remember it when I was little. I always got mixed up with those stupid like Patronus things that were in Harry Potter. I can't remember what they were. No, not the Patronus ones where they change into the animals. I don't know, I think it's like Animus dragons or something. Those are the ones with magic, and the little piece of crap is one of those. The queen had a daughter before that who was killed, who was also magical, I think, who was trying to be the queen. And so she made a magical statue that was killing all of the eggs so that they wouldn't have any more heirs. But Tsunami lived because she got kidnapped. Whoops. And the little piece of crap lived because the queen just didn't put it in the hatchery. Who'da thunk? Long story short, I think they end up convincing what's-her-name, the Queen Coral, to join their side in the war or whatever. I don't know. The War on Terror. And so then we get part 3. Part 2 just ends. Let me just... Yeah, I'm missing a lot of stuff in here. I don't remember any of this. I think they're out to... Someone's trying to kill the Rainforest Dragon one. What's their name? I don't know. We're gonna call them
Jungle Freak,
because I can't remember their name for now. Oh yeah, so the big bad Nightwing dragon, he's trying to kill
Jungle Freak.
And so then Queen Coral's like, nuh-uh, no more. And then he's like, alright, my fault. And then I think he just dies. Oh yeah, and then after they destroy the magic statue, the queen finally gets like a son or something, and then the little tumor gets all pissed off again. But we won't see more of her until later. Book 3, The Hidden Kingdom. I think it's established that the
Jungle freaks,
because there's a lot of them, that they're really scary, and that they're supposed to be the most dangerous kind of dragon because they can spit acid. I forgot about that part. That's how they killed the queen, what's her name, in the Sky Kingdom. And then the plot twist in this book is they go to the rainforest to try to convince their queen to join their side. And then the plot twist they learn is the rainforest dragons are just really, really lazy. None of them do anything. They're not fighters. They sleep all day and they eat fruits. If you see on the back, they're eating fruit and they play with sloths. I think they're gonna lose the war. I don't know. I'm really invested. Oh yeah, only thing I remember from this thing, I think there's a blind rainforest dragon named Kinkajou. And I only know that because every time I go to the zoo now and I see the little cage with the monkeys and it says Kinkajou, all my friends are like, oh wow, the monkeys are so cute. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, that's the name of the dragon from the furry books, but I can't say that because then they'll know that I read the dragon furry books. But yeah, basically nothing happens for half this book, I think. And then they find a secret portal to the Nightwing dragon land. It's a terrible... They live in hell. They live under like a volcano or something. Yeah,
jungle freak.
She finds this magic portal in the rainforest that goes to the Nightwing land. I don't think anything happens with that in this book, but in the next one, I think it's kind of important. I don't remember. Oh yeah, in the third book, they have like a magic MacGuffin thing. It lets them visit people when they're dreaming. It's like a little stone thing. You put it to your head. Now I'm talking to Joe Biden and listening in on his dreams playing Minecraft with Donald Trump. Anyway, so they have this whole plan that they're going to use the dream visitor thing, I think, to talk to the rest of the rulers so they don't have to go flying around the continent like they have like 6 times already. Because I think on the map, each of these kingdoms is like on complete opposite sides. So who knows? I think the third one ends with the Nightwing dragons going and kidnapping the kidnapped Nightwing dragon again. They steal him from his friends in the Rainforest Kingdom and take him to hell. Alright, now we're on book 4, and I don't remember the name, and I don't own it, so I can't fact check anything in this book. And hell is just terrible. All the food is rotten. There's no sun. They live under a volcano. There's ash constantly falling from the sky. I don't remember what happens in this book. I think there's a school there. That's about it. I think they have like a library of old prophecies or something. Oh yeah, that's the thing about the Nightwing dragons. They're supposed to be able to like read minds, prophesize and everything. They can't, but they say that they can. Well, we'll get back to that later. So yeah, in this part, the kidnapped Nightwing dude, he learns the whole prophecy is BS. It's fake. They just kidnapped them because to convince everyone that it was real. It wasn't. You know how I said that the old guy died in the second book? I think I lied. I think he actually dies in this one. I think he burns to death in lava. I think at one time in this book, all the group of 5 friends, the Fab Five, the rest of 4 of them, they go to try to rescue kidnapped Nightwing dude. And I think I only remember that because the mud dragon things are supposed to be resistant to fire. And so then Clay gets lava poured on him and he's chilling because he's immune to fire. But lava's like molten rock and like 1,000,000 times hot. Funny story, The 5th book is the one that ends this part of the story. I didn't read it when I was little because they didn't have it in the library. So, preface for what you need to know for book 5. The sand dragons, sand wings, because they all end with wing. Oh yeah, the water dragons are called sea wings. I forgot about that. The sand dragons, they have like scorpion tail things that are supposed to kill people. But the one that they kidnapped just so happened to be the runt of the litter. And she's like teeny tiny and doesn't have the scorpion tail, even though they're supposed to be the biggest dragons and have the scorpion tail. She doesn't. So, and then I think some stuff happens, blah, 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 blah. They have a big showdown with all 3 of the sisters. I think one of them is already dead, so it's just between 2 of the sisters. Another one of them dies, so then 2 of them are dead, so then you think, oh, that one's the winner. No, they decide actually Sunny, the little one, is going to be in charge of all of them. Even though she hasn't lived in their kingdom and doesn't know how to rule a kingdom. She's been living under a rock her entire life. Oh yeah, they made the rainforest dragon that was kidnapped
Jungle freak.
the ruler of the rainforest. Because we got to put all the main characters in charge, I think. Yeah, that's the end of the first series of books. How would I rate the first 5 books? 7 out of 10. It was alright. I remember the first 2 kind of well. Not the last couple, albeit I didn't read book number 5. So let's say if I did read it, 8 out of 10. Oh yeah, at the end of the whole thing in book 4, all of the Nightwing dragons move into the rainforest. And all the rainforest dragons are kind of pissed off about it. And all the Nightwing dragons are kind of pissed off about it. But they're not actually, because they get to eat fruit and not sleep under a volcano. So that might be a little bit better living conditions. I think the 6th book, oh yeah, there are like 17 books in this series. I don't know if I'm going to go over all of them. That would take a million years. We'll see what I end up doing by the end of the video. You guys will know. I don't know. Maybe I'll quit and I won't even do this section. Anyways, book 6, it takes place a couple years later. There's this one dragon. It's one of the Nightwing dragons again. They were born after they moved into the rainforest. And then that's when they find out that if the Nightwings are born under a full moon, they get special powers. And so this is one of the Nightwings that actually has powers. It's not all BS apparently, even though for the most part it's all BS. So the Mud Dragon from the first book, he starts a school because he wants everyone to get along, because none of the dragon tribes like each other or are friends, but he's got his 5 super friends. So they all get along, and he just wants everyone else to get along because nobody else likes each other because the world sucks. These books are so unrealistic. How did they get these plot ideas? So they start Professor Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, and then a gifted youngster named Moon, who's a Nightwing, comes to the school, and she's all reading everyone's minds and crap, and telling prophecies and crap. Oh yeah, everyone learns that she can read minds, and they hate her, and somebody dies, like they explode to death. This book series is a little bit violent. I kind of forgot to mention that. I shouldn't have been reading these. I lied. I didn't start reading these when I was in 6th grade. I was in 2nd grade. Yeah, after the Sky Dragon who goes to the school, after she gets exploded to death, the school is like shut down for a little bit. I don't really remember anything else that happens in the next 5 books. Okay, I just cheated. I looked up a quick summary for the next 5 books. I didn't really read it that much because that'd be less fun. Anyways, I think one of the sand dragons, they go to the school. Moon, the main character of this book, she was actually born under 2 full moons, so she can read minds and prophesize, but they can't control when they prophesize. So then she's in front of this dude, and then she just starts prophesizing something. I don't really remember. Shoot, I don't know. I think she gets her own 5 super friends. So it's her and 4 of the other dragons, and they all go off and do something. It's her, one of the sand dragons, one of the ice ones, and oh yeah, the main character from the second book's brother, Turtle. That's his name. Oh, this might be a little bit important. Moon, the mind reader, she's having thought conversations with this one scary dragon. He's trapped underground, right underneath the school. He's apparently alive, and he just woke up after like a really, really, really long time. That's not setting anything up at all. So they all go off because I think the ice dragon's having like trouble back home or something, or he just wants to go home. So then they go off to the Winter Kingdom because I think the ice dragon's name literally is just Winter. That's such a boring name for an ice dragon. Could they not have thought of anything better? Winter, his whole deal is that his brother went missing a couple years ago, and that's kind of scary. So then after they go to the Ice Kingdom, there's some BS over there that just sets up the Ice Kingdom, and we'll come back to that in like 6 more books. They fly down into a town, and they see this dragon named Peril, who used to live in the Sky Kingdom. They were in book 1, and they were right by Scarlet, whatever her name's, side the entire time. But I didn't mention her because I forgot she existed. And then I think something happens. They're wearing a necklace, and someone like yanks it off, and then it turns out Peril was actually Winter's older brother, but now he doesn't remember being him very much. Being her, and he doesn't remember his brother very much. I think we're on book like 8 by now. I forgot to mention that. I don't remember anything that happens in the 7th book. But book 8, I think, is just this Peril character having like a whole identity crisis for like the entire thing. Oh yeah, and Scarlet from the first book, her face is all melted from venom. I think as punishment at the end of the book, they take the magic necklace and they put it on to Scarlet because she's trying to be evil and stuff again, because she's evil, and they turn her into Peril, and so then Peril gets to keep living. But then Winter's older brother dude, whose name I don't remember, probably Glacier or something like that, because T. Sutherland is so creative with names, is like having an identity crisis even more, seeing Peril flying away, and he's like, that's me. It's not him. Can I like talk about like Splatoon or something next? I'm gonna make a Splatoon video after this. I don't want to talk about dragons anymore. Anyways, so now we're on book 9, and I forgot to mention in the second book, but only the female eggs were being killed. The males weren't, because in this world, it's a matriarchy, baby. Girl power. All of the sons are like unimportant, and there's like 20 of them. But the one who's part of the super friend, the second set of super friends, he has magic powers, but he doesn't want anyone to know. But the mind reader dragon knows that Turtle over here has powers. Can you guess why he's called Turtle? It's not like he's shy or anything. No, that'd be too obvious. T. Sutherland would never make a name for a dragon obvious based off of their characteristics. So then I don't remember, but I think they go back to the school because Moon's like, I want to free my big friend who's trapped underground and can read minds. And Turtle was like, that sounds like a bad idea. Can you guess what this dragon's name is? It's Darkstalker. That's the name of the dragon I'd want to be friends with. We'd go out on the town all the time. Go for a couple of drinks with my friend Darkstalker. have you met him? He's a real nice guy. So he takes a stick, and he's like, Stick, you're gonna make me invisible to Darkstalker, and he can't hear my thoughts. And then the stick's like, and then Turtle also knows that like Darkstalker has magical powers because he's like this character of legend. I wonder if we'll get back to that in Wings of Fire Legends, Darkstalker. Anyway, so he knows he has magic powers, so he casts a spell on this stick and says, Stick, whenever I'm holding you, none of his spells are gonna work on me. And then the stick's like, aight. And then Darkstalker comes up from the ground and he's like, Yo, what's up everyone? I cast a spell so now all of you guys like me no matter what I do. And you'll think I'm your best friend. And then Turtle's like, what the hell? And he's like, this guy is creepy. And then everyone else is like, no, he's not. He's our best friend. I don't remember what Darkstalker is actually going to do or what threat he posed. Anyways, before we get to book 10, we're actually going to go back and talk about the Darkstalker book because it's a little bit important before we get there. I don't even actually remember what happens in book 10, but just trust me, it's important. No, this is the first one that I actually bought as they were coming out. Anyways, this book follows what's his name, Darkstalker. And he grows up. This is like 2,000 years ago. He's like Jesus or something. Oh yeah, this guy is like really good at reading minds and doing the whole prophecy BS. I got that wrong. He's really good at reading minds and he's magic, but he has a girlfriend who can tell the future. Now, Darkstalker, his father, just hates him and he like abuses him and stuff. And he was like, man, screw you, Dad. I hate you. But he's grown up and he's just a little kid. So what's he gonna do about it? And so then his girlfriend, who can see the future, she's little and she knows that they're gonna end up together. And so she's like, and so then she goes and finds him when they're like 2 years old or something. I don't know how aging works for these dragons. Anyways, at this time, all the Nightwing dragons, that's what Darkstalker is, and his little girlfriend, whose name I can't remember, they're both the night dragons, and they live, like, on the actual continent. Like, they have their own area, they don't live in hell yet. That's all this guy's fault, we'll get to that. So this handsome young fella, he keeps trying to win over his girlfriend, who already knows that they're going to get married and have kids, because she can tell the future. He tries to win her over by making all these gifts with his magic powers, and then she's like, no, don't do that, it's going to backfire and it's going to turn you evil, because when you use magic it turns you evil. And he's like, nuh-uh. And so then he uses more magic to make this thing that like measures how good or bad your soul is. And then he's like, now if you're ever worried if the magic's turning me evil, you can just use that on me, and then you'll see that you're stupid and I'm right and you're wrong. So he makes this friend who is the ancestor of the main character of the second book, and he's the dude who has magical powers, and that's where the whole rest of the sea dragons get their magical powers, because magical powers have to be passed down like genetically. You don't just get them. And so all of the dragons with magical powers are related. I don't know who started that off. If there's some genetic quirk that's like, yep, magic powers, you. Anyway, so then they have their trio of super friends. So there's only 3 of them this time. And they're all best buddies. And then they're going along in life. And then Darkstalker's little girlfriend is like, yo, can you make me a bracelet so that you can't read my mind? And because that's kind of creepy and stalker-ish. Who'da thunk? And then he gets all like pissy, like any jealous boyfriend does. And so then he's like, fine, whatever. And so then he makes the bracelet thing, and then he starts thinking, she's gonna try to kill me. She's gonna try to kill me. And so then he makes himself immortal, and he makes himself invulnerable to any damage whatsoever. And she's like, this is kind of weird. And then he starts casting all these spells on people so that they fall in love with him and stuff, and that he's trying to become the ruler. He's going on this whole like Hitler scheme, you know? And so Darkstalker's coming to power, And then as he's coming to power, he's like hosting some big festival. And then he invites his dad, who he hates, to come up on stage. His dad's an Ice Wing, by the way. So he's a mixed breed and he hates it. So he's a racist too. So that's 2 for 2 on the Hitler thing. He brings his dad up on the stage and then he casts a spell on his dad to 1, have the mind of a toddler, and then 2, rip out all of his guts in front of a live audience. Remember, I was 8 years old when I read this. Anyway, so then Darkstalker's little girlfriend is like, yo, can you like enchant this bracelet to make whoever wears it like fall asleep forever since we can't actually kill him? So then the Sea-Wing dragon guy, he's like, sure, whatever. And he casts a spell on it. She puts it on Darkstalker, and then he falls asleep. And then she collapses a mountain on top of him because she like sees the future and she knows an earthquake's gonna happen or something. And then after that, all the Nightwings are scared he's gonna come back, so they run away to hell. And she flies off across the ocean to find the new world and colonize it. And the Sea-Wing dude, he just goes back home and he has kids, and that's the last we hear of him. Anyways, so yeah, Darkstalker, not really a great guy, not someone you want to be friends with. Who'da thunk? At one point, Turtle, back in the main book, because we're on book 10 now. So Darkstalker's like at large, and then Turtle was like, yo, I can't do this. Here, what Moon's little sand dragon friend, what was his name? I think it was like Quibbly or something like that. Like the video streaming service, I don't remember. He gives it to Quibbly or whatever. And then he has the stick, and then Quibbly's like, oh shoot, my mind control has been broken. And then Turtle immediately becomes visible to Darkstalker. And then Darkstalker immediately tries to kill him because he looked exactly like his friend from like 2,000 years ago, who's the one who made the bracelet that made him fall asleep forever. And the only reason he woke up was because the bracelet broke because he got too big. Because the thing about dragons is that as they age, they just keep getting bigger. And so this guy is like 100 feet tall. This guy is so big that they physically cannot fit him inside of the school that they made for dragons because they keep trying to open it back up. That's like a whole subplot thing. And they try to have him be a teacher because everyone loves him now. But he just physically cannot fit inside the school building. Anyways, and so then Quibbly or whatever, he goes and he gets allies or whatever, and then he like finds some way to kill Darkstalker or put him back to sleep. I don't really remember what happens, but then that's it. That's the end of book 10. So book 6 to 10, what do we think? If we include the Darkstalker book, I would say that for this series, that was pretty good. That was a 9 out of 10 for this series. If you don't include it, I'm saying it's a 6, because I don't remember what happened at all. It seems like nothing happened besides the whole Darkstalker thing, so... Anyways, book 11, because remember, there's 15 of these things. That's what her name was. Clearsight, the prophesying dragon. Her name's Clearsight. From the Darkstalker book, it's Clearsight, and you're gonna need to know that going forward after she colonized the New World. And so, this whole part takes place on a completely different continent, because I guess she couldn't come up with more ideas for basic elemental dragons, and so this time they're all based on bugs. So, Clearsight flew over the entire Atlantic Ocean to the New World, and then when she landed on Plymouth Rock, she gave this big prophecy to all the natives. And then she started interbreeding with all of them and having a crap ton of kids. So everyone on this continent is related to her. She pulled a Genghis Khan. And so the entire time Clearsight's around, she's like giving prophecies that'll happen for the next 2,000 years. And so then everyone starts writing it down in this book. And so then that book is like their holy scripture, because it tells them exactly what's gonna happen. And so she's like revered, but then she dies. And so then there's no more prophecies. And so then they keep this book like in a very special place and they hold on to it forever. The main character of this book is like a butterfly dragon, because with all these dragons, they don't actually have wings at first, I think. They have to like go into like a cocoon. They have to pull a metaton and they come out as a butterfree. But it's like described as being like really, really gross. These dragons are like Spider-Man, so they can shoot like silk from their hands and they use that to weave a cocoon. Can you imagine if Spider-Man went into like a cocoon, like he spun his own cocoon and then he like liquidized and he came out as like Butterfly Man? That'd be so gross. I don't know. That's what happens to the main character of this book. Well, not the main character, but his sister does that. Oh yeah, and they deforested the entire continent after Clearsight got there, and they built these big tree things out of what was left over. They're called hives, because you have the butterfly dragons, but they're actually just slaves to the... Each one of these books has like a whole encyclopedia thing with the names and like pictures of each of the dragons. The hive wings. And so the hive wings, they've enslaved the silk wings to basically make them good so they can then sell and purchase. Where did Tui T. Sutherland get her inspiration from this kind, guys? Who can tell? And so, after the main character's sister goes into the cocoon, she's sold it on the Atlantic slave trade, and he's worried he'll never see her again, and so then he goes and tracks her down. While he's trying to do that, he finds one of the hive wings. Important note about hive wings, the queen controls them all, because they're like bugs. And so whenever she wants, she can just flick on mind control and then suddenly, oh, gotta do whatever the queen says. Anyways, the main character, he finds one that isn't like that. She's resistant. And I don't remember why. I think it was really, really interesting. Oh yeah, also, the main character's sister, she sprays fire from her hands, like fire soap. It's like lava. And so that's why she gets shipped into slavery. It's not actually because she just makes silk. Usually they just live lives as like a weaver or something. But if they have fire, they get courted off to the royal castle or something, and they like produce fire because none of these dragons can breathe fire. Anyways, so then the whole plot of this book is just trying to get his sister back, and they just pick up some friends along the way, which may or may not fill out the next 5 books, and we have a third group of super friends. Crazy how that keeps happening, man. Yeah, and then I think this book ends as soon as his sister comes out of her cocoon thing, and then she can like Spider-Man but fire. This book happens from the perspective of the little friend that the main character of the first book made along the way. Not the first book, book 11, but the first book in like this. I think the little friend he made's name is like Cricket or something, because they're all named after bugs. Because this part needs to be bug themed for some reason. Anyways, the main character from the first book and his sister and the friend Cricket, they all team up together to go steal the Book of Clearsight. So it's like essentially if you went to America and they have like the Bible like under a whole lot of security and stuff, and you're like, all right guys, we're gonna do it, we're gonna steal the Bible. And they open it up and they figure out that everyone's been lying to them for the past 500 years, and actually the prophecies ended 500 years ago. And they've just been making it up as they go, so that they can say, Clearsight said we should do this, so you guys should be slaves actually, because the book said you're inferior to us. Anyway, so then they have this book, and I don't know what they do with it. I think they run away to the rainforest, because there's a rainforest here too. But this time, instead of being called rain wings, because we've already used that one, they're called leaf wings. They thought that they were extinct, but they aren't. And that's the big plot twist at the end of this book, so no need to read this anymore. Alright, book 13 They have a Leafwing friend who hates everyone and everything and doesn't want to be a part of this series, and neither do I. Anyways, the whole plot of this book is they're hiding from the queen of the Hivewings, who has put the entire tribe into permanent mind control until they find them. And so then they run away to the rainforest to hide with the Leafwing people, and then they find out that there's this magic plant in the rainforest, and that's how it's actually controlling the queen. The queen isn't actually in control, but she injects bits of the plant to control the Hivewings, I think. And the reason why Cricket it doesn't work on her is because she didn't get injected with it. The plant gets loose and starts infecting people, and so then the main characters are like, we're not doing this crap. Let's just fly over to the other continent that Clearsight said exists, because maybe things will be better over there. And so they just run away, and that's how this book ends. I don't remember anything else that happens in this book. I think they just do nothing for half of it. I forgot to mention before we get into this one, back in book 9 or something, after Darkstalker comes back, he kills the Icewing Queen, I think. This new dragon, Snowball or something, or rather, takes over. 2T Sutherland just sucks at naming these ice dragons. I don't know what in particular is bad about them. Anyway, so they have this magic ice wall to keep everyone else out that I forgot to mention earlier. That's what was set up in book 7. The main character of this book, Snowball, is man, running this kingdom sucks. Everything sucks about this. And then she sees all these dragons flying over, and she's like, man, this sucks even more. So now I gotta deal with all these unidentified weird types of dragons that just came from another continent that existed. And then I don't remember what happens after that because I didn't finish this book. It's the last book in the series that I ever read. I never bought the final book of the series, book 15, because it didn't come out for a year after this. These books were coming out every single year since, hold on, let me check when the first one came out. Okay, 2T Sutherland had to be making multiple books a year, because the first book came out in 2012, and this one came out in, 2021 is when this one came out. I only stopped reading these 3 years ago. That's not embarrassing, but these books were coming out for a decade, and 17 of them were released. So just think about that for a second. Anyways, I'm sure in the last book they find some way to stop the massive hive mind of weird zombie dragons on the other continent. But that's about it. The plot doesn't seem to be as good as the other 10. So I'm saying for these couple, 4 out of 10. I like the new dragon designs, but that's about it. Something cool about each of these books, like I said, they show the different types of dragons and drawings and stuff and a map. For the newer books, it's not as cool though, because they only show 2 types of dragons. Because there's only 2 types of dragons on the other continent, so whatever. There's an additional book here, not part of the main series. It's another one of those Legends book. There's humans in this world. They don't talk about them that much. They call them scavengers, because there's always some silly name for humans in this book. In Warrior Cats, they call them I don't know, I didn't read Warrior Cats, but they probably call them something stupid. I think this book is literally just a summary of the first 5 books, but from a human's perspective. I don't remember what happens in this book at all. I think it was interesting. I read it in one night, but I don't remember what happens. Yeah, this book came out in 2020, so you can tell I had nothing better to do than play Animal Crossing and read this book. Final notes, 2T Sutherland also wrote under the name of Aaron Hunter for the Warrior Cats series. That's why I'm bringing up so many similarities between the 2 books. These books are definitely not great. They're okay for kids' books. Maybe I'd think fonder of them if I actually read them. I'm not going to be doing that for this video. I'm not going to read 17 books for a YouTube video that's going to get 20 views. Honestly, it's kind of amazing the fact that no new books have came out for the past, like, 3 years, because they were pumping this stuff out. I bet 2T Sutherland could keep going for another 10 years, just keep churning out stories about dragons. I mean, you got magic, you can do whatever you want. It's like Harry Potter, you can keep writing more books. They won't turn out good if you keep doing it, but you always can if you need more money. Final Judgment, Wings of Fire, it's okay.
Sup folks, I can't come to the phone right now, but if you like the video, be sure to go to Texas Roadhouse and ask for 16 glasses of water and 2 glasses of water. Thanks.